Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHMAD. So in this video, we are going to be looking at paper 3 from the CIE ICT IGCSE course, and we're going to be doing a May-June 2021 paper. So we're going to be doing data analysis, which is spreadsheets. And if you check out the next set of videos, I will be completing the website section as well. So paper 3 is a practical paper, which is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. I'm going to scroll down to page 7. We're going to be looking at task 5, which is data analysis. Okay, so you are going to be using a spreadsheet, or you're going to use a spreadsheet to list properties in Bali that match the location and room type entered by the user. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to open up and examine the files ending home.csv and rate.csv in a spreadsheet package. So I will be using Microsoft Excel. So the first thing to do is to go to your source folder. I did start this task but didn't finish it, but I'll do it again for the sake of this video. So I'm going to open up the home file, and it looks like this file is going to be used for a lookup, and it looks like it's going to be a horizontal lookup since we have rows of data rather than columns of data. Okay, so that's the first file opened. The second file is going to be rate, ending in rate.csv, which is going to be this file here. And again, it looks like another lookup or another file that could be used for lookup. This time is going to be vertical because we're going to be looking at columns of information instead of the rows. Right, so we got the files open. Okay, so opening and examining the files J21311 home and J2131 rate.csv in the spreadsheet package. Row 2 in the home file contains the location of the properties. So let's have a look at the home file. So this is row 2, and this is the location of the properties, and rows 3 to 8 contain the names of the properties. So yeah, so that's the location and that's the names of the different properties available at this particular location. Okay. These files will be used to provide data for your spreadsheet and must not be changed. Okay, that's fine. We are going to open up and examine the file J2131 list.csv in the spreadsheet package. So that's the file here. Okay, open up the columns so you can see the data in full. No problem. Okay, data has been placed into cells B4 and B5 to help you test your model. So B4 and B5 are these cells here. Okay, so we can keep it as it is for now. Okay, it's time to insert a header. So to insert a header, I always use the search option. Sometimes icons are not visible. So we're looking for header and footer. And in the header, we want to place on the left side, okay, the following piece of information. So the text, list prepared by. So let me copy this. Obviously, if you guys are doing this, you'll have to write this down. Make sure you're not making any spelling mistakes and use capital letters when shown. So list prepared by space. Okay. Then your name. So I'll type my name. So space, my name, and comma. As you can see, your center number, and I'll use 5678 for the center number, and candidate number. So there's no space. So let me type a comma after my name. So 5678 for my center number, 1234 for my candidate number, comma, then space, then followed by on. So comma, space, on, and then today's automated date. So we can click up here to get today's date. And is there a footer? No, there isn't, just a header. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to save this as a spreadsheet file. So right now we've opened up the file as a CSV, and if you save the file as a CSV, you will not be saving your formulas or functions. You will only save the values. So it's really important when you do save your Excel. Let me just get back to the normal view. So click on any cell. You always save as an Excel workbook. So click in your folder, click Excel workbook. And what do we need to save this file as? So it's basically going to be this name _ center number and then your candidate number. So I'm going to copy this information into here and then I'll make the necessary changes. So my center number, we said we're going to use 5678 and candidate number 1234. Obviously, guys, in the exam, you refer to your own details. Okay, so that's that part done, relatively straightforward. And question 15, which has 7 marks in total. We are going to format the spreadsheet so it looks like this. Okay, remember cells B4 and B5 already contain information. Row 1, you can see the height has been changed and the height also for row 2 has been changed. So we can go ahead and we can do that. So decrease the height for row 2. And the first cell you can see has been merged across columns A and B. So we can go to home, merge and center. Format the merged cells A1 to B1, which is this top row, to contain white 28-point text on a black background. So black background, so it's not changed, white text, and the size will be 28. Okay, just make that a bit bigger. And it looks like the text has been center aligned vertically and horizontally in the cell. So I'm just going to increase the cell size slightly. And it's already center aligned horizontally. We can also do a vertical cell alignment here and make this text bold. Yeah, done. Row 3 looks like it's been merged across as well, and the text has been made in it's been boldened. Okay. And then the rest of the text looks like it's center aligned. So we can highlight the rest of the text, center aligned. Done, no problem. Okay, fantastic. There is some information here. Having looked at this paper, we are going to be entering some formulas, functions to get some information to show here. So there's no need to copy this information right now. It's always good to have a look and see what we are going to be doing in the next few steps. So in B7, B8, which are these cells here, we are going to be entering some sort of functions. Okay, so I think I am happy with the formatting. Let me double check. Let me check the header and footer, or the header, if it appears in a print preview, and yes, it does. It's not made it clear that we need to include grid lines. So I did check the mark scheme and we didn't have to show any borders or grid lines. And you can also check out sometimes the printing, they may say specifically make sure borders or grid lines are visible. So it's not the case here. So I'm actually going to leave the borders for this example. I don't know why I've zoomed in. Okay. We're now going to be looking at question 16. So enter a function in cell B7, which depending on room type, looks up the number of persons from the file J2131 rate.csv. Right, the first two pieces of information that we need to look at is, let me change the color to green. we need to look at what's in cell B7. So right now, nothing. And whoops, why am I clicked on there? Depending on the room type. So what is the room type? The room type is this cell here. Okay, so B5. So we need to look up B5. We're going to be looking up this table array. Okay, so the lookup value here would be Q. We need to see if it matches up here. Yes, it does. And we're looking up the person. So the answer which we should get is 3. So this is going to be a normal VLOOKUP. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this VLOOKUP. Okay, so number of persons dependent on the room type. So VLOOKUP will look up the room type. Okay, we go to the table array. So make sure you do follow the formula. So B5 is the lookup value, comma, to get to the table array. And we can come to here, and then we can highlight the table to the second column. And you will notice, since it's an external sheet, the table array is automatically absolute cell reference, which means it's going to be locked in. Comma, we can refer to the second column. We want an exact match, which means if it's Q, the output should be 3. Okay, yeah, perfect. So that question had 5 marks. Okay. The next question only has 1 mark, but we're basically doing the same thing. It's going to be another VLOOKUP, this time in cell B8. Okay, which depending on the room type again. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing, looking at the room type, but displays wherever the breakfast is provided. Let me change that to yellow again, using the same file again. Okay, so if you look at the file, we basically want to output yes or no. Okay, and we're still going to be using the same code, so we should get an output of yes. Let's go ahead and get that done. So VLOOKUP, looking up the room type again. Table array is here, and we can go to the 4th column this time. Comma, 4th column, and again we want to go for the exact match. Close the bracket, and yes, that's what we expected to see. Great. So let me save the changes to what I've done so far. So we've done 2 VLOOKUPs so far, 6 marks. But now looking at the next question, it looks like this is the main part of this exam paper. Okay, and this is quite tricky. So we need to think about what we're going to be doing initially. So let me just minimize that. You may have noticed I'm using a different format to record this video today. So I'm using Microsoft Teams. So if you're thinking, what was that box? Right, in cells B10 to B15. Okay, so where is B10? B10 is here and B15 here. I'm just going to highlight these cells now, and I'll change the color later. We must display the names of all properties in a location entered in B4. Okay, so the location entered in B4 is Abood, if I'm saying it right. If I'm not, I do apologize. And what we want to show is all of the the properties. So if we look at this, yeah, so that's the location, and here we have 5 properties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to show these 5 properties basically here. But you'll see we have we need to do a formula in all of these cells. Okay, so we don't have 6 properties, we only have 5. Okay, so what do we need to do? So if there are less than 6 properties available in that locations, which there is, cells not displaying a property name should be blank. So this is where we have to do an if statement. Okay, so just before we start this question, okay, if no matching results in a table array, then the lookup value you will get is going to be at 0. Okay, so if there's no matching content, so if the lookup value does not match the contents in a table array, so in this case, there is going to be no match because it's going to be blank. The output will be 0. Okay, so we have to do an if statement. Okay, so let me just think about this for a second, how we're going to start this. And we have different rows to consider as well. So let me just go back to, because we need to, we are going to be highlighting this table here. The first row contains the location. And the first output will be this one here in row 1, okay? But we're going to be dragging down this formula, so we need to consider how we change this to look into row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6 as we go forward. In some cases, some properties do have 6 different, some locations do have 6 different properties. Okay, so if there's no match in the table array, the output will be 0, and what we want is to show a blank cell. Okay, so let's go for it. And so I'm going to do an if statement first of all. Okay, what we're going to check first of all if it is a blank cell. Okay, so so logical test, and it's going to be a HLOOKUP. Okay, so we're going to look up the location, comma. We're going to go to the table array, which is this file here. We're going to highlight the whole table. You can see it's absolute cell referenced already. Comma. The row index, guys, this is where we need to think. Okay, so initially we are going to be looking at this first row, but we are going to be dragging down the formula. So the first row would be, we're going to be looking at the second row in the table. So if I come back to this sheet here, and behind here was a number 1. So what we do is we click on A10, okay, and we write now +1, okay. So it's going to be 1 + 1, which is going to give us an answer of 2. Okay, when I drag down this formula into the next cell, it's going to be 2 + 1, which will then look into the third row, and so on. Okay, so comma, exact match. So if the output, if there's no match in a table array, the output is going to be 0, remember. So if the output is equal to 0, okay, then what we're going to return is a blank cell. So if that's true, there's no match in a table array, we're going to return a blank cell. Okay, comma, if that's not true, then we're just going to do a HLOOKUP to return different properties. So I hope this is going to make sense once I've completed this formula and then we've looked at the examples, or we look at row 6, that should return a blank cell reference. Okay, or yeah, blank cell basically. So HLOOKUP, again, we're going to look up the location. We are going to go to the table, and we're going to highlight the table, comma, and again, we are going to be looking at different rows. So if you go back to this Excel, I can't click on A10 anymore, so I'm just going to type in A10. It doesn't matter if it's capital letters, +1 for the row index. Remember, it's going to change every time we drag it down. Comma, exact match. Close the bracket. So that's the HLOOKUP closed, and then we need to close the bracket for the if statement. Enter. Okay, so we just got a slight problem here. I think here's the problem. So A10, I didn't write the full. So let me just press enter right now. Okay, yeah, that's working. So these numbers are going to refer to the row index of the table array. So this is a table that we highlighted, and for the first output we're referring to the second row, and then for the next output, when we drag it down, we're going to refer to the third row. So the row index will change using this part of the formula. So we're just going to be adding 1 to these numbers here. So this will look up the third row from the same table. Okay, so this has worked because there was a match. Okay, so we looked up this location for the second row, so it's this plus 1. Oops, sorry guys. And there was a match. So in the second row of the table, there was a match. In the third row of the table, there was a match, 4th, 5th, 6th. But the 7th row, there's not going to be a match. So when there's no match, the output will be a 0. So if it is a 0, we are returning a blank space. Okay, so it's basically, this is the 7th row of the table that we highlighted. So 6 plus 1 looks into this row, and you can see there's no match. But if you were to change the location to these two, then obviously you would get a match, and you can just do the normal VLOOKUP. So I'm hoping now, if I just press enter, if I drag this down, this is going to work. Okay, so guys, just let me, I think I have unlocked something as well. So, you know, it's really easy to make a mistake, guys. So you can see we got NA. Because the first one's worked, we're looking at this location, but what I didn't realize was, I didn't think at the time, when you do drag down the formula, this will also drag down. So we need to lock the lookup value. So no problem, we can do that now. So this is actually a trickier paper than normal. Let's drag this down, and it's worked, yes. Okay. Take the fill out, and you will see there's no output here. We don't have an error message, we have the blank space, okay, from this part of the formula. So if there's no matching output in the table array, the output would be 0. And if that's true, we can show a blank space. So remember, it's going to be, for the row index, it's going to be A15, which is 6 plus 1, which looks up. So this is a table that we highlighted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th row, and you can see there's no output. So the output would be, if there's no match, it is equal to 0. Okay, and we would turn a blank space here. Okay, so I'm glad I've got that question done. It's 11 marker. We're going to save the spreadsheet, and we're going to print off showing the formulas in a landscape orientation, including the row and column headings. And we're going to ensure all of the contents of the cells are fully visible. Okay, so let's go to formulas, show formulas. Yeah, we can go to file, print, change the landscape, and I think we can fit the formulas to one page. Custom scaling options, we want to fit to one page, landscape, and we want to show the row and column headings, which are the letters for the columns at the top and the row numbers. Yep, so we can see all of the formulas in full. I'm happy with that, and you can go ahead and print. If you do spot a mistake, then obviously you can print again. Okay, right, so let's take off the formulas now. And obviously when you do print, just make sure the details do show in the header and foot in the header. There is no footer in this example. And now we're going to print off the values. Portrait page, row and column headings are not displayed. So file and print, and you can go to custom scaling options, change to portrait, take off the row and column headings. So the letters and numbers have disappeared, and you can see the header details and the information is showing. Yeah, you can print that off. Fantastic. Okay, and we've come to the end. There's always relief once you get to the end of a paper, especially if it's been a little bit tricky as well. So now we're going to change some of the contents of this paper. So change the data to produce a list of properties when the room type is G. So let's change that to G. So that's changed, okay. And so this is a location. So let me just copy and paste that in. Okay, and we still have 5 different locations. So let me just double check. Yep, it was this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, great. Okay, so we can go ahead and again we can print this out as values. Portrait page, row columns not showing. Make sure everything is visible. And we can print this off. Yeah. Okay, guys, we've come to an end of a tricky exam paper. Like I said, this was a long formula, and I did make a few mistakes. I forgot to include a 0 here, so I wasn't referencing the cell here to increment the row index, and then I forgot to absolute cell reference the location. But if you can think on your feet in the exams, it's a good skill to have. Okay, guys, thank you for your time, and I hope this video was useful. Okay, bye-bye. Take care. Good luck in your exams if they're coming up soon.